Hey everybody, welcome back to Allison Unfiltered. I have the amazing Kristi Wolbers here today. She is an RN. She is going to talk to us, and oh, she's like way more than that, but I'll let her explain all her digits and letters and things behind that because I'm not qualified to explain all that to you. But we're going to talk a little bit about Ozempic and what it's done and what it's doing to people. And it's not just the Ozempic, it's all the other names of it too. But that's kind of the main one that everybody associates the weight loss shot with. But Chrissy's been doing this for a minute and helping other people. And she's actually really, what she does as a nurse is really cool. So I'll let her tell you more about that. But Chrissy, thank you for joining us today. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you so much for having me today. It's truly my honor and my privilege to be here. I know I watch and you've had some fabulous guests on, so I've got some really big shoes to fill. But I've been a nurse I'm an RN BSN. I've been a nurse for a little over 25 years, primarily in mental health and substance use disorder. Um, I've worked anything from child adolescent, all the way through the lifespan. Currently, I do private in-home detox nursing. So I'm 24/7, one-on-one with clients who don't want to go to rehab, um, but who also don't want to die while they're detoxing from their substance of choice. So it's pretty intense. And we have conversations about a lot of different health issues. And while that's my primary focus, I'm also a health and wellness coach. Have been for a little over 3 years now. And I feel like it's important, and I'm so glad you brought this topic up when you and I were speaking earlier this week. I feel like it's important that people hear both sides of the story when it comes to what we're putting into our bodies, whether it's natural or artificial. And so I certainly wanted to have that conversation today because already I've had some clients that have not only been asking about it, but also participating in it. And what I'm seeing, to be honest with you, isn't very good. So I
Yeah,
want
I
to be
mean,
able to first let me tell you though, I am the queen of analogies. So if I start, throwing analogies out there, it's just because that's how I really feel like people can understand. I don't want to be really technical. I mean, I can get into the science piece like really deep, but I feel like most people really relate to just being authentic and speaking from the heart. And that's what I do plan on doing today.
well, no, and that's great, and that's what we want. I mean, it's just having a conversation, and I'll kind of tell you, um, a little bit about what I've talked about before on here, and what concerns me the most. And I think there's three or four really big things, and then I want you to add on top of that, right?
For sure.
The first thing is it's I was talking to another friend of mine today who is also an RN, and she said it's like anorexia in a shot. And I was like, I never really thought about it that way, but you're literally starving your body, right? So, what the biggest thing, it makes you nauseous, so you don't eat, and then they tell you that you need to work out with it. Well, most people, and I'm just going to speak very frankly, most people that need to lose that kind of weight, they're lazy and they don't work out. And not all of them are lazy. Maybe they struggle getting the weight off. Maybe there's reasons, but if you're not already working out, you're not going to go work out because your doctor said to, because your doctor's told you a long time ago to exercise and take care of your body, right? Yeah, exactly. So, if you are taking this and you are not exercising, well, first of all, you don't even have the nutrition in your body because you're not eating enough to even fuel your body to exercise. So that's the first conundrum, right? The second
Hmm.
one is you're not eating, you're putting your body into starvation mode, so your body's going to eat its lean muscle before it eats the fat, right? We had a girl on our team, and Kristi does Xyngular with me as well. So, but there's another girl on our team, Rosie Brown, and she had a girl, they own a gym, and she had a girl get in a scanner, right? And that scanner was it showed a girl that had lost 30 pounds with Ozempic, that was on it for about 2 or 3 months. and she put her in the scanner, and she has barely any lean muscle left. It's all everything that she's lost is her lean muscle, and it's just she's just blubber, right? And that's not healthy. So it's not teaching us healthy habits, right? That you can sustain long term. People are gaining 2/3 of the weight back as soon as they quit. Let's talk about the pancreas and the liver. They're not diabetic. So where is this insulin going in their body, and how is their body utilizing it? And where's it going to end up, right? And what kind of health concerns are we going to end up with later on? So that's like all my main pieces. Like I'm like, oh my God, you just putting a shot in your body, you don't even know what it's doing, but because a doctor told you, well, guess what? That doctor, I mean, okay, look, yes, I make commission off of the supplements that I sell to you, right? When we help someone, we coach someone. So yes, we all make money, right? But big pharma is paying big money to these doctors to push. That's why they have so many free samples to get the people hooked on it, right? And then guess what? Insurance doesn't cover it if you're not actually diabetic. And then it's like $900 a month,
Well,
unless,
mhm.
or more, unless you have a coupon, right? Some of the pharmaceutical companies are putting out coupons so people can, and then you have to ask yourself, because I'm totally a conspiracy theorist, right? You have to ask yourself, why? Why do they want this in people's bodies so bad? Why? What's the end game here? Is this like another population control thing where
Mm.
you're ruining people's bodies, right? Because
Interesting.
everybody quit getting the vaccines. So nobody's doing that now. So we've got to get something in us. And this sure did pop up. And I also heard that there's like 42 new medications that are same as Ozempic, Monjuro, the other ones, but there's 42 waiting to be approved
Every
with
pharmaceutical
these.
company's jumping on the bandwagon. They smell that money and they're ready. They are ready. They want it.
Yeah.
And to your point about, and I didn't mean to interrupt you. I apologize.
No, you
You
didn't. You
know,
didn't. Don't. No, this is easy.
to your point about big pharma. I mean, oh God, there's so many things I want to say. Um,
Well,
but to your point about
we
big
have.
pharma, do we need big pharma? Sure, we do. We need chemotherapy drugs. We need life-saving. When somebody has a stroke, we need one of those medications that's going to break up that embolus in the body. We need them for a lot of things. Um, However, we don't need them for the majority of things because what we're doing when we throw pharmaceuticals at something is we're throwing it at a problem when we could have been focusing on prevention. Okay. So pharma is big money. It is one of the top three lobbyists in the United States government. The amount of campaign funding that they utilize, and I'm not going to name all the companies because I don't want to be sued for libel, but the big ones, look at where their money's going and look who is voting on certain bills, especially when it comes to then following substance abuse healthcare and how much of that is covered. But anyway, I digress. When we look at the history of weight loss, everybody wants a quick fix. Everybody. And I get it. At the age of 26, I weighed 305.5 pounds and I was absolutely miserable. And I was in nursing school and they made us wear all white. And here I was in my joints hurting. I'm breaking out into a sweat because my body is having to work overtime, dressed in all white, looking like the Michelin tire man, here coming down to my patient's room, huffing and puffing. Um, and I wanted a quick fix. I sure the hell did. And you know what I did? I went and like most people, I went to the doc and rather than and I had heard, and besides that, I'm in nursing school, right? I know the food pyramid, which is totally wrong, by the way. But again, it's something government subsidized that was put out there. Why? To keep us fat so that we could, have to rely on other things like pharmaceuticals when we get heart disease, diabetes, and the like. But I wanted that quick fix, and at the time, the quick fix, I think you know what it was. We all knew what it was back then. I'm almost 50 years old. It was Phentermine. It was Fen,
Yep.
right?
Yep. Me too. Me too.
Oh, and let me tell you, my house has never been so clean. I never needed any sleep. I could multitask like nobody's business. And did I lose some weight? I sure the heck did. Did I learn how to eat right? I sure the heck did not. I learned I didn't have to eat. I mean, I wasn't hungry. I was on fire, man. I could do so many different things, and it's prescription speed. And what wound up happening down the road, well, for me personally, the minute I stopped popping that pill is the minute I started gaining the weight back. Why? Because I didn't eat right. I wasn't working out. I certainly didn't have the energy to multitask anymore. Um, and number two, I was artificially suppressing my appetite. So man, when that hunger came back, it came back with a force. It was like, all right,
Yes.
you haven't fed me in months, baby. Here we go. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Totally.
And then to top it all off, from the medical perspective, thank God I never had any cardiac issues from it. But there weren't enough long-term studies to know the cardiac damage that it was going to create. And that's why it was taken off the market. People were having heart attacks. People were having so many different cardiac issues. They were now having to be put on blood pressure meds because their blood pressure was sky high. I mean, who does coke or meth for a long time or consistently, you're going to have that high blood pressure, right? Because your body's trying to compensate. So that was the quick fix back then. Okay, fast forward. Now, here comes the gastric bypass. Here comes the lap band. Here comes the sleeve. Quick fix yet again. Are doctors telling you first to eat right and exercise and all that? Yes. Are you doing it? No. You get your BMI high enough. Now it's approved by insurance. So it's not costing me a penny. Go ahead, slice me open. I'm willing to risk death under anesthesia because I'm not willing to look at, you know, I'm not willing to look at supplementation. I'm not willing to look at actually doing the things that are required. I want the easy way out.
Hmm.
I'm not gonna lie, I contemplated it. Those people now are their hair's falling out. They cannot absorb nutrients like they used to.
Their teeth are
They can
falling out.
Their teeth fall out. They can't even drink out of a straw anymore because the air bubbles upset their tummy too bad. And guess what I found when I was running an inpatient dual diagnosis psych and substance use disorder detox unit in the Dallas area. My females who were coming in for alcohol use disorder detox, 50% of them had a history of gastric bypass. Why? Because they didn't work on this and they didn't work on this. They knew was this. So because they could no longer do this, now they were doing this.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we're perpetuating so many other issues by wanting, and I get the desire for a quick fix, but credit to my mama, good old Mama Sue, she's a nurse too. She said anything worth having is worth working hard for, right?
Yeah.
It's worth
Yeah.
the work that you put into it because the work that you put into it almost guarantees its sustainability.
Yeah.
But
And
like
I want
you
to pause
said,
you for 2 seconds. I want to pause you two
yeah,
seconds.
yeah, yeah.
Can you tell everybody how much weight you've lost with Xyngular? Like you talked about how big you were when you were in nursing
Mhm.
school, right? And you struggled with weight loss. And like, oh my gosh, y'all should see Kristi's before picture and see her now. It's absolutely incredible. But what was your total weight loss with the Xyngular stuff?
Thank you. I had lost weight with diet and exercise like I was supposed to. Then I hit good old menopause. Um,
Hmm.
and I also had a very toxic job at the time in Nashville. And I was eating and drinking my feelings because, I didn't deal with it here, didn't deal with it here. So let me deal with it here. And I had gotten
Hmm.
back up to between 212 and 217. I was vacillating. I was in a tight size 14, 16. With Xyngular in my first 8 days, I lost 9 pounds and 5 inches eating real food, taking plant-based. Girl, it was so much food. I'm not kidding. By day three, I was so tired of chewing. I was like, I don't know if I can do this. Not because I'm hungry.
Right.
It's teaching your body to burn things so differently. But
Yes.
yeah, my first 8 days, I lost 9 pounds and 5 inches. I knew then I wanted to share this with everybody. I wanted to scream it from the mountaintops. I think I know you were on the call with me when I made that decision. But then I went on, I've lost 53 pounds. I lost 47 in the first 3.5 months while having both of my hips replaced, mind you. So
Yep.
I couldn't work out even if I wanted to.
Right.
Um, so it goes to show that when you're eating correctly, when you're teaching your body how to use food as fuel, and then you're teaching it how to burn fat as fuel, when
Mhm.
you're eating to live and not living to eat, and when you're filling in those nutritional gaps with all natural, plant-based, high-grade stuff, your body knows how to process that,
Yeah.
right? And knows how to do
Automatically.
what to do with
Yeah.
it. So yeah,
Yep.
I was one time I was at my highest. I was in a 3X scrub. I was in size 26 pants. For those of you who don't know what that looks like, it's pretty darn big. Um, but when I started Xyngular, I was a tight 16, tight 14, comfortable 16. Now I'm a comfortable 8. I lost initially 47. I'm probably down 52, 53. I play around with 3 to 5 pounds. You know how we do.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But
I
that
know
was
how that
3 years
goes.
ago. It was three
Yeah.
years
And
ago.
yeah. And you kept it off. And I think that's the biggest thing is um what we do. And this isn't about promoting singular, but it's just part of the
Absolutely not.
conversation. Like, what we do teaches people how to lose the weight and keep it off. It's a lifestyle. It's not a diet. Diet is deprivation. This is not deprivation, right? Now, do you get to eat Fruit Loops and, and Chick-fil-A? Well, wait, we can have Chick-fil-A. But do you get to eat McDonald's and all the crap that you drive through? It's just it. Here's what blows my mind. You have people that talk to you about this and they say, "Oh, well, I'm going to do some research." And I'm like, "Okay, did you research the last chocolate chip cookie you put in your mouth? Did you research McDonald's before you drove through it because the FDA approves McDonald's and that's pretty tough, right? That's bad stuff." Um and and then you come back a year later like, "Oh, I started Ozempic." Well, my doctor said, "Y'all, these doctors, I'm so sorry. These doctors are dumbasses because they're not thinking about what's best for their patients. Period. End of story. They are not. And maybe there
And
are
I
a
will
few
say
that will. There are a
there's a
few.
handful. There's a
There's a
handful.
handful. But do you know that they've approved this for 12-year-olds? And do you know that they have approved lap band surgery for 12-year-olds because we have such an overweight epidemic crisis in this world, in this country? And us and I think Russia, they have the same kind of struggle. We are the most overweight countries in the entire world.
Mhm. And it is an epidemic, but it's an epidemic of convenience, is what it is.
Yes.
Point
Yes.
blank. It is an I can't tell you how many people have told me when we've been discussing different options for their health and wellness. Oh, I don't have time to meal prep. I just can't do that. But you'll sit in the McDonald's line, even if it wraps all the way around but you're not getting out your car to go in because that's not convenient. You know what I'm saying? So it is a mindset. But when we talk about the physicians, um, bless their hearts, first of all, they get maybe, if they're lucky, 6 weeks of education on nutrition. That's
Mhm.
it.
Yeah,
Six
yeah, and
weeks.
that's why we tell people like if you have a question about something, don't go take this to your doctor. Go take it to your pharmacist. Because your
Yep,
pharmacist is trained in natural supplementing and prescription meds, right? So
correct.
your pharmacist is
Correct.
going to be able to tell you more than your doctor. But yeah, I mean, bless
But
it.
doctors too, they're under so much pressure from managed care. When they do see you under
Mhm.
insurance, they're getting paid very little. As you know, you have a $20 copay. They would normally charge a cash pay patient like myself. Let's say if I walk in with no insurance, they're going to charge me 150 for that visit. They charge the insurance company 150 for that visit. They're getting paid maybe $55 for that visit. So they want you in and out of there as fast as possible. In doing so, they hear your chief complaint. They also know that nowadays there's something called Yelp, there's something called health grades, there's all of these different rating systems online. And so happy customers will refer happy customers. I don't care if it's what we do or if it's the latest restaurant down the street, or a doctor who's going to give you what you want. I can't tell you how many physicians who stick to their guns, who refuse to prescribe Xanax when somebody goes in and reports, oh, I'm a little anxious. I was hoping you could give me some Xanax. And they go, no, not going to do it. Those patients get irate. They go on every single portal possible, give them horrible ratings to the point where they feel almost bullied into writing a prescription. So that's their mentality. I need more patients so that I can make up the money that I'm missing. Big pharma is, there are kickbacks even, legally not supposed to, but there's still some happening. But in reality, if they don't keep a happy patient base, they've got no business, and they've got student loans out the yin yang. So does telling them, here's your meal plan, here's your referral to a nutritionist, a registered dietitian, or here is, what I know that has worked for many of my patients who no longer take high cholesterol meds, your hypertensive meds. They've been able to come off of their insulin. They've been able to come off of their oral medication for diabetes. But here's what they did, right? He doesn't have time, and B, it doesn't make him happy. So he's given in. It's like a parent whose child is throwing a tantrum in Brookshire's or Walmart or wherever you are for a candy bar, right? It's that.
To a degree, like I went and saw, I have a health and wellness coach, right? And I'm hitting that perimenopausal stuff. And I went and saw a doctor, and I was like, I'm just having, like, I've lost 75 pounds with this. I know what to do, right? But I'm struggling to like get past this hump. Like, I think we should check my hormones. And the
Mhm.
second thing out of her mouth was, okay, we can check your hormones. And the second thing she said, she goes, but I can give you a shot for weight loss. So for some of these people, it's not even a conversation. It's not even a doctor frustrating. It's just what they're throwing out there first, the first thing out of the gate,
Right.
you know? And that's what these people are going in looking for. And I mean, this is a nightmare. Big Pharma did not have a piece of the pie in the weight loss industry. And now they do. And now they figured out. I have lots of friends that are on Ozempic that are actually diabetic, and Ozempic doesn't make them not hungry. It doesn't, their body utilizes that insulin. Ozempic
Yeah.
doesn't make them lose weight. They don't lose weight from it. I mean, maybe 5 or 10 pounds here and there, but not
Right.
massive amounts of weight because the insulin, because their body's utilizing the insulin. So where is the insulin going for people? And I'm gonna call bullshit on something too. Insulin resistant, what does that even mean? Right? It means you're overweight and your body's not processing things as it should, and you need to lose weight. That's what insulin resistant means.
Correct. Correct. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'll answer your
But
question.
they're scaring people. But they're scaring
Of
people.
course.
When they go on the doctor, there's like, oh, you're insulin resistant. Oh, what can I do about that? Oh, well, let me give you a shot. It's
Right.
a diabetic shot. And I'm like, but are you diabetic? And people are like, no. I'm like, then why would you take something for what you're not? Well, my doctor said, well, your doctor's an idiot.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Your doctor told you before, eat right and exercise. You didn't do that part because it wasn't easy.
It wasn't
It
convenient.
wasn't
Yeah.
easy. It wasn't
Yeah.
convenient. Um, but to answer your question about where is this extra insulin going, more so than the liver, I'm worried about the kidneys. If you pay really good enough attention to the commercials, right? Because by law, they have to list side effects. They tell you, first of all, I'm worried about two organs. I'm worried about your whole body, but I'm worried
Right.
about your endocrine system and I'm worried about your kidneys. And here's the reason why. Most of it's cleared through the kidneys. And if you listen to the side effects on the commercials, what you're hearing is if you have a history of chronic kidney disease or thyroid medullary cancer, you really need to be monitored by a physician. Okay. Well, if your physician, first of all, if you don't have the $1,000, right, per month to pay for this shot because your insurance company won't cover it because you're not diabetic, if you don't have it,
Which
when you,
should be your first red flag.
Mhm.
Here's your sign.
Yeah, yeah,
Sorry.
But no, 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 don't apologize. Don't apologize. Like this is why we get so worked up because we know what works, right? We do. We've seen it, we've done it, we've lived it. But
Hmm.
everybody's wanting this quick fix, and for chronic health problems, and for something that you have to face on a daily basis. Look, sugar's a drug, baby. Sugar's a drug. Period.
100%.
So you're going to be faced with your addiction from the moment you wake up to the time you go to bed.
Every
Nancy
day.
Reagan's just say no doesn't cut it, because if so, I wouldn't have a full-time job and I certainly wouldn't have my side business of health and wellness. Because if we all just said no, we'd live in a utopia now, wouldn't we? But that's not reality.
It'd be wonderful. No,
It
but
would.
a lot of people don't even realize how much of a drug sugar is. And
Right.
your carbs turn into sugar. Alcohol turns into sugar. Like
Hmm.
it's all sugar. Sugar-free shit has alcohol sugars in it. It's not really sugar-free, you know? But oh, I'm gonna go eat six sugar-free little turtles and I'll be good. No, it's not. It doesn't work that way. Like there's so much. I think it's ignorance by just blissful ignorance. They
Oh
don't
yeah,
want to know because then they don't have to be responsible for themselves, you know?
exactly. Exactly. But I think people have always sought a quick fix for addiction of any kind. And the bottom
Sure.
line is,
Yeah.
I even, as my in my full-time job as a detox nurse, I tell them the easy part's when I'm here. The
Right.
easy part for you, not for me, but the easy part for you is when I'm here. The hard part starts when I leave, because now
Yeah.
you feel better, right? And if you're not willing to do the work that it takes to maintain, I'll be seeing you again. And I do. I see these people again. Um, excuse me. In the points that you listed earlier when we first started talking, what was the second thing that you talked about? I know you got some
Um,
notes right there.
yeah, yeah, I do. I have notes all the time.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Um, Talking about losing their lean muscle, that they're losing
Yes.
lean, it's
Yes.
eating, when they put their bodies into starvation mode, it's eating lean muscle. So,
Yes.
but give us some scientific analogies about that, like what you're seeing.
Well, but here's the thing. The reason that, when you see the commercials on TV for the starving babies in Africa, right? What is left on their bodies is skin and a little bit of fat, because fat is what's going to keep them warm. Their bodies in starvation mode have eaten all of the lean muscle. Now, lean muscle, first of all, the reason people are losing the weight is because muscle weighs more than fat, right? So you're losing 30 pounds of lean muscle. So you're like, oh, wow, this is great. Which, by the way, these shots don't start kicking in for 4 to 8 weeks. So you're looking for a quick fix, but you've got to spend at least $2,000 to start your quick fix, by the way.
Unless your
But
doctor has samples like mine did and offered to just give you samples for 6 weeks, 6 to 12 weeks.
fair enough. You're getting the first ones for free, but you're not even seeing results for at least a month. You're not.
Yeah.
Um, but that's why you see these little, when they do the starving babies and they're asking for, your 39 cents a month or whatever it looks like, their bodies are literally eating themselves. And so that's what's happening when people are going into starvation mode and then potentially working out. But even if not, if you go into starvation mode, that's the first thing that your body utilizes. Well, guess what? I don't know if anybody took anatomy and physiology, but your heart is a muscle. And
Yeah.
so when you're done using other major muscle groups, you're going to have some cardiac impact from this. At a minimum, from the nausea and potential vomiting and dehydration, you're going to have a loss of electrolytes to the point where you can throw your cardiac rhythm off, right? So you can throw yourself into VTAC or AFib very quickly. Fancy words for rapid heartbeat, skipping heartbeats, um, and things that medically need to be reversed if they can possibly be reversed. But your muscle is one of your biggest your heart is one of your biggest muscles. Um, so 2/3 of your weight loss is all of that muscle. So when people watch this, when we're done, even if you're not, if even if you're willing to risk it, like I was with FinFin, right? I was like, ah, screw it, man. I'll deal with the consequences later. If you're willing to risk it for the true health reasons, you're doing this primarily for aesthetics because you want to be skinny, right?
Mhm.
I would
Yeah.
love for anybody watching this, when they're done, just Google Ozempic butt, please. Google Ozempic face,
Yep.
because people are losing structure in their face.
Just eating their
They are
bones in
losing,
their faces.
they
Yeah.
got nothing to hold their skin up, baby. Nothing.
Yep. No,
Nothing. So
nothing.
if you want to be a thin, literal, hollowed out skeleton, that's just the basis of what you're getting, let alone kidney damage, cardiac damage, potential liver damage. And let's talk about the pancreas. The pancreas is what produces your insulin, right? Okay. Well, now you're artificially putting insulin into your body. So your pancreas is like, oh, hey, I've been working hard for a long time. You're insulin resistant. So now that you're assisting me by putting insulin into my body, I said, see, now I don't have to work. So I'm going to go on unemployment for a while. I'm going to be back here taking a nap. And I'm going to reap all the benefits, but not have to work my butt off anymore. And
Yeah.
the moment you stop taking that shot, A, you're gaining the weight back, but B, now your pancreas is like, hold up. I've I've been off duty now for at least 6 months. I mean, you got to ease me into this. I mean, you can't expect me to come back 100%. Can I go part time? Can 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 I go per diem? Just when I feel like it, when I don't feel like it. So now, seriously, your endocrine system is like it is out of its mind because it's like I haven't had to work for myself for so long. You've been my sugar daddy, pun intended. So so now you're putting me out on the streets again? Ah, I don't know
Uh-huh.
if I can handle this. That's what your pancreas literally is doing.
And then so what
So you
happens?
so so it starts trying to manufacture quite a bit, right? But it can't keep up with that. It can't
Right.
keep up with the artificial stuff that was put in your system. So what little output it's going to give you, it's not going to be as effective. So now I'd like for everyone to mark my words. Now we're going to have a bunch of people who would not have developed type 2 adult onset diabetes developing type 2 onset diabetes. And now you're going to have to take oral metformin, or you're going to have to take injectable Ozempic, Monjaro, any of them, but you ain't going to lose any weight. Why? Because it's now having to do what the pancreas was doing, but you killed your pancreas years ago, taking away its one function. I know I get worked up. I'm sorry. Can't help it.
No, I love it. I love it. I love the visual that you're creating. I mean, it's so true. Every bit of it is so true. You're not you're not giving your body any nutrition. If
No,
people need to understand something more than anything in the world, and if you don't hear me on anything, hear me on this. You have to eat to lose weight. On this program that we do, the Xyngular, we eat 5 times a day. 5 times a
I
day.
told you. I got tired of chewing. I was like,
I'm
I
telling
don't
you.
know if I can chew anymore.
Right. I'm so sick of eating protein. I don't know if I can eat any more protein. And here's the thing. When I started it, I ate 2 veggies and now I eat 6. But do I eat veggies every day? No. But we also have stuff that helps with getting veggies in your body, right? Our prebiotic is great, and I use that for veggies a lot. So the thing is, you're not teaching yourself anything. You're teaching your body to starve itself, to eat itself. And then when you stop, you're like, what the heck happened? So here's the thing. I'm still going to be sitting here in a year when all these people gain all their weight back and they're real, real, real unhealthy. We're going to be sitting here waiting on y'all. And, you know, It's
I
just, you
promise
do it
I
to
won't
yourself.
say
Why
I
are
told
you
you
doing
so.
this?
I won't.
Right.
I'm not going to
No.
project you. I'm not going to say I told you so. I will welcome you with open arms just like I do today if you come to me,
Right.
right?
Right. But why
But
are you
here's how
doing
I
this to
see
yourself? Go ahead.
it's the immediate it's we are taught instant gratification. By the way,
Yeah.
in psychology, when you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the very pyramid, when you reach actualization, is adulthood, where you're supposed to be able to tolerate delayed gratification. Okay.
Hmm.
But the folks who are doing this are the kids who secretly try and unwrap their Christmas presents a week before, and they
Hmm.
do, and they're like, "Oh, yay, I'm getting this for Christmas," and they terribly wrap it back and they put it under the tree, and then Christmas Day comes, and they go, "Yay, Santa came," and they go, "Oh yeah, shit, I knew I was getting that. I'm sorry." Um,
No, no, you're fine.
but that's what they're doing. They're getting their gift prematurely, and then nothing. There's no satisfaction that comes out of that long term.
Mm-mm.
There's
Mm.
absolutely nothing. And so they want instant gratification. So I get why you're doing it, but I really think you've got to do your research, because I guarantee you this: when the samples run out, when your money runs out, and by the way, don't tell me my program's too expensive for you when you're willing to shell out $1,000 every
No
month for
shit.
one
No
injector.
shit. Yeah. No shit.
That being said, though, if you Google right now, if you Google semaglutide, you will find websites that say no prescription needed, $297 a month. Log in now, blah, blah, blah. Okay. You know where that's coming from? The same places that you Googled back in the day, phentermine without a prescription. Or the same places people are Googling Vicodin without a prescription. Your stuff's coming from China. Your stuff's going to come from other places where you have absolutely no idea what's going on and what's manufactured in it. And you don't have a physician monitoring your thyroid. You don't have a physician monitor. A good physician would be doing this, monitoring your lab values for your kidney function, right? You want to wind up on dialysis? Let me tell you what dialysis is like. It's not even as comfy as this old recliner I'm sitting in. I promise you. You are sitting in a plastic, call it, y'all have been to hospitals. You see those recliners, right? First of all, they have to install a shunt in your arm, which is a plastic U-shaped tube. And they insert a bored needle that, no lie, is literally this big around to fit into that shunt. Okay? And you're sitting there for 3 hours, 3 days a week when they do that. And they're taking your blood out and they're filtering out all the toxins. You've put on 3 to 5 pounds in the last since your last session, because your kidneys are not functioning at all. You can't have salt in your food, but even naturally, you know, food that has no. But anyway, you're puffy. You're sitting there for 3 hours, 3 times a week, while you're watching some old TV show, and this shunt is in your arm with a needle because it's filtering out your blood and filtering out all the toxins in it, because your kidneys no longer work. And you're on a transplant list, but that list is pretty lengthy. So
Well, and
it's it's like a hierarchy of needs when it comes to that, you know?
yeah. And let's talk about, how you feel. You know what? Do I wish I could eat pizza all the time and McDonald's and all the things that I used to eat? Sure, I like to eat that because I have the palate of a 6-year-old. But I don't, because it makes me feel like shit. That stuff makes me feel so terrible and so yucky. And you guys want to know why you're lethargic, why you have nap 30 in the afternoons, why you're tired? Why I had a client walk in. I was asleep at my desk one day at my bookkeeping job before I ever started Xyngular, right? I mean, it's because of what you're putting in your body, and we get people ask us all the time, well, is your stuff FDA approved? Oh, God, no. And I'm so glad it's not, because, like I said, the FDA approves McDonald's. We're governed by the FTC, which is actually a little more strict, the Federal Trade Commission, which is actually a little more strict. So thank God
Well,
natural supplements aren't approved by the FDA, because there's no telling what kind of shit they would put in it, right? These are root and plant based natural stuff. But the thing is, you can do the work and you can keep the weight off. And oh, I don't want to have to change the way I eat, or oh, I don't want to have to do this, or oh, I don't want to have to work out. I didn't work out. But I
I
mean,
still
damn, make
don't.
your heart healthy by walking. I mean, I work out because I have the energy to now, and I want to feel better, right? And I want to tone my body. But you don't have to, right?
No,
And
and that's the thing. Movement and exercise is important. I don't do well in a gym culture. I never have.
no, no, no,
But
I don't.
but
I have my
I
own
will
home gym.
gladly. Yeah, I will gladly go and take a nice walk with my dog. I will gladly go, to dance. The things that are fun. I'll go swimming, whatever that looks like. But
Yeah.
but people think, oh, I have to work out. I have to hire a
Mm-mm,
trainer. I have to do all this.
mm-mm,
No, you don't.
mm-mm.
No,
No, you
you
don't.
don't.
And basically what it boils down to is it's all excuses. And what's going to happen is you're either going to spend money on your wellness or you're going to be forced to spend money on your illness. And trust me, it's a lot harder to be sick and diabetic and kidney failure and pancreas failure and liver failure. That's a hell of a lot harder than watching what you put in your damn mouth. I mean, like, put your big people panties on, grow the F up, because you are doing this to yourself, and you are doing this to your children. Look at our children that are overweight and obese.
Yeah.
It is it is so sad.
It's
It's so
systemic.
sad.
It is
Yeah.
truly systemic, and it's only getting worse and not better. That's the
Mhm,
thing. So if
mhm.
quick fixes truly worked, you and I wouldn't be having this conversation today.
No,
We truly wouldn't. But
they don't
it's
work long
clear.
term.
No, that's why they call them quick, right? They're short term. Absolutely. Now, if someone, I will say this, let's say someone's, entire organ system is in true danger because they're at the 700-pound mark, and we need to get them down quickly, right? So
Mhm,
that they can now move and
mhm.
be able to prepare their meals and be able to walk and things like that. I got no problem with using semaglutide or something similar to help them do that because they're bedridden, right? In
Okay.
rare instances, do I see that that is a short-term intervention, not solution. There's a difference between an intervention and a solution, right?
Mhm. Yeah, and
So
I think this is being marketed as a solution, and it's not a solution.
it is not a solution. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. The only solution is eating food that your body, and I don't care if you believe in God, Buddha, the universe, whatever it looks like. You can believe in the doorknob, but your body was created, okay, to burn and utilize things that grow,
Mhm,
whether that be plant-based, animal-based, or a combination of the two. Your body was not designed to process the things that you cannot pronounce on the back of a potato chip bag. Okay?
mhm.
Is it a potato? It once was.
think so. Yeah, it once was a potato.
It
But
sure
that's the
was.
thing. Here's the thing. I don't want to portray that we're perfect by any means, right? We do get
I
cheat
am
meals
not.
once a week. I
That's
mean,
true.
you listen. I'm going to Dallas tomorrow with the kids. We're going to have an Italian place that Gage wants to go to, and I'm going to eat pizza tomorrow, right? But 90% of the time, I eat clean, I eat good, and that has made such a difference. I had what's it called? A calcium scan, a calcium score. Do you know what that is? Like a calcium score. Like, I went and had my heart CT'd. It's a CT
Yes.
calcium score. Okay, okay. Sorry, I
Uh-huh.
got to get my. I don't,
It's
like I
okay.
said, that's
That's
above
all
my pay grade. Um, and it goes from 0 to 300 on the score, right? I'm a 7. Do you know how cool that is? Like, do you know
right.
how
It's
great
amazing.
that is to
Yeah.
know that, like, my heart is in really good condition, and I feel good about that. And do you know why I feel good about that? Because I put the work into it. So I
Yes.
do have that satisfaction that I put the work into it. I did the work. I mean, yes, do I play with 3 to 5 pounds here and there? Sure, but that's normal, right? we're
That's
not,
everyday
what I'm
life.
talking about, yeah, that's everyday life. But what I'm talking about is like when I was so far overweight, I would gain weight on vacation. I would come home and eat a cookie to make myself feel better, and then I just beat myself up for that, right? I don't have that mental abuse on my own personal self
No,
anymore, right?
no.
And I allow myself the cake when it's a party, and but it's just not all the time. So people
And
think
that's
they
the
have to be
thing.
completely deprived of everything, and it's not.
No.
It's
And
not.
that's what I love about what our program teaches through that cheat meal, right? What it's teaching you is have the cake, have the pizza, have the sushi, have my go-to is chips and queso, girl. I swear I was Mexican in a former life. Um, but what it teaches you is that once a week, one time in that day,
In
I can do
moderation.
it in moderate. But I can't finish. I used to eat a bowl of queso plus the chips for a meal. I'm not talking the cup of queso. I'm talking a bowl of queso. Okay. I thought when I first heard about what we do, when Tamara was sharing with me, I was like, wait, whoa, 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 whoa. 8 day jumpstart, no dairy. That's my favorite food group. And we all know it's not a real food group, but like
Right.
cheese was life to me.
Me
And
too. Cheese and ketchup.
now when I eat it, like even if I do my chips and queso for a cheat meal, number one, it is a cup of queso because I can't finish the whole thing. And you're right. Like cheese is such an inflammatory. Like when I'm done, I
Huge.
feel like there's this, and I've never given birth to humans, but I feel like there's this cheese baby inside me. Like I should be wearing maternity pants. And
It's
I feel like how late in pregnancy I've seen it. My mom's a labor and delivery nurse. Like, they're doing the pregnancy walk and they're like, oh, I'm so
yep.
tired. Oh, I can't do this.
Yeah.
That's how I feel after a cup of queso. So like are a couple of bites okay to satisfy a craving every now and again? Yeah, but I don't want to live that way anymore, man. I don't have
Mhm.
to.
And I
I don't
think
have
that's the difference.
energy.
That's
It's
yes.
beautiful.
Yes, and that's the point too, is you don't have to be miserable. You're choosing to be miserable. When you find out in that first 8 days what it feels like to feel good again, you're like, holy shit, I didn't know I felt that bad. I did not
You
realize I
don't.
felt that bad.
Until you feel better, you don't know how bad you felt. You are
Yeah,
absolutely right.
yeah, yeah. So back to the Ozempic. Like
Yes, sorry.
what do you foresee happening long term? You said you've had some patients that have had some personal experience with it. What do you
Hmm.
see happening long term for this? Like, you, you talked about the phentermine, and once again, there weren't enough long term studies before the
No,
phentermine just came out and everybody was taking it.
no,
But there's not enough long term studies with this either. Somebody
correct.
just discovered that, holy crap, this actually works. Let's try this. And it's actually working,
Right,
right? Well,
right.
it's kind of working. It's working on the outside. It's totally eating your insides.
Yep.
But what do you see long term for someone who, maybe they've struggled all their life and they have 100 pounds to lose. And let's say they lose 100 pounds and they got Ozempic butt and Ozempic face now. Like, well, I guess we kind of talked about that though, because you said they're going to turn
But
into a long term. They could turn into a long term diabetic, type 2 diabetic, long term. I mean,
absolutely,
for,
we've got long-term kidney damage, potential dialysis. What true diabetics experience untreated is they can also have a lot of different issues with their eyes.
yeah,
You can have retinopathy, you can have loss of vision. There are uh,
neuropathy, loss of your
diabetics
feet
who
and
have,
hands.
I'm sorry.
Neuropathy, loss of your feet and your hands. I mean, from
Oh, like
diabetes.
amputation. Absolutely. All like
Yeah,
everything that an uncontrolled diabetic can have is unless you stay on this lifelong, which is not, again, like we talked about, it's not a solution. It's an intervention. It's a momentary intervention for those who desperately and truly do need it to get to a place where they can do something that's realistic. You stay on this long term, I see long term damage to multiple organ systems in your body. So You want to talk about expensive, man, and
And,
you want to
and,
talk
and
about
here's the thing
miserable
too.
and potentially immobile. That's where you're headed.
Yeah, and you're going to gain the weight back when you stop it.
You
Period.
are.
There's no ifs, ands, or but about it. You are going to gain the weight back. I remember I lost 30 pounds before Danny and I got married on phentermine in 2010, right? I took it for about 6 months. So I started like 2009. He wasn't quite sure that he wanted to marry me by the time it came up because phentermine makes me a total bitch. I mean, it makes me
Oh, I hated
edgy,
everybody.
bitchy. But oh yeah, yeah, you hate everybody, right? Well,
Yeah,
because you're not eating, right? And you need to eat a
yeah.
donut or something. Um, I did not take phentermine the morning that we got married. I took it up until the day before. And you want to talk about, I was fine the day of the wedding because there's so much action going on, right? But the next day, we're driving to our destination, our honeymoon. Oh my God. Listen, they sent part of the cake home with us. Kristi, I didn't even have a freaking fork. I was dipping my hand into the box of cake and eating it with my hands because I
Yes.
didn't have any more appetite suppression anymore. And I gained at least 50 or 60 pounds. Remember, I lost 30, but I gained it all back and then some within less than a year because my body was like, holy shit, I can eat again. And that's exactly what's fixing to happen with all these people. And if you think it's not going to happen, you are full of shit. You are lying to yourself. And you need to ask your doctor that question. When I get off of this, am I going to gain
What
weight?
happens? Yeah.
What happens
And
when
our,
I get
our
off of this?
brains, our brains are so powerful, as is our entire bodies are miracles. They truly are. I believe that.
Oh my gosh,
And so
yes,
you
yes.
damage it to the point where it can no longer function. But your brain will tell you so many lies, so many lies. I won't even get into that part because that's the psychology of it, right? But here's why people gain their weight back so easily if they are not following a, I don't want to say structured because that sounds almost like a prison, right? Like you wake up at
Right.
7 a.m. and the lights are on. No, but if you're not doing a realistic program that teaches you how to eat to live and not live to eat, the reason people gain their weight back is because once you create a fat cell, that fat cell never goes away when you lose weight. It simply shrinks. Okay? That's why there are inches lost too, right?
Mhm.
So unless now you're going to get lipo or you go to what is it that they freeze the fat? I can't remember the name of it.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's like a
Yeah,
cryo something or other. Yeah.
exactly. Cryogenesis. Like unless you're doing that and totally ridding your body of that fat cell, they still exist. And like you, the day after your wedding, what they're waiting on is, oh snap! Somebody just feed me.
Oh,
Just give me a little something, something.
uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
and it's so once it takes a lot, believe it or not, to create a fat cell. It takes 3,500 calories, right, to create one
Wow.
pound. So creating a fat cell is hard work, but once you do, oh man, it's just sitting there waiting. And the moment it gets its hands on something, so it's very rapid. It's kind of like somebody who goes through detox and is sober for 10 years from alcohol and then says, "Oh, I can just be a casual drinker. I can have a glass of wine with dinner." Within a week, they are right back up to what they were using before and then some. Because the
That's our
body's
brains
miraculous.
too.
Yes. The body and the brain are very miraculous in two totally different ways, either good ways or bad ways. Angel devil, baby. But but for those like for me, who look, the 305.5 pounds of fat cells, they're still here. They're still here and they're waiting for me to go, you know what? F it. Domino's is having that 50% off menu special this week and this week only.
Right.
So rather than, have my just cheat meal, let me go ahead and punish myself because I have that old mentality of, oh, well, I just had pizza, so I screwed up today. So let me go ahead and finish off the day with some cake and some donuts. Well, today's Friday, and technically I should start on Monday. So let me go ahead and screw up the weekend too. And then, well, we're already into July. So why don't I wait till the beginning of August? And like, there's never a good time to stop drinking, and there's never a good time to lose weight, right? Life happens. We're going to have events. But at the end of the day, when you find something that truly does work long term, that is good for your body, your soul, and your brain, those fat cells are just going to have to sit there and talk to one another and just sit there and basically
And
lament
wish
the
for a
good
donut.
days,
Hmm. Hmm.
you
And I
know?
tell people,
And
I'm like, would I rather be eating pizza than baked chicken or chicken on the grill? Of course, I would rather eat something different. I mean, I have kids at home still. There's mac and cheese cups in my pantry, and my 6-year-old, the 6-year-old
cheese is
inside of
a
me,
love language.
like, I want some Kraft macaroni and cheese in the microwavable container, and I tried to tell myself yesterday, I really wanted some mac and cheese. And I was trying to tell myself, I was like, okay, look, comparison, right? Here's the jasmine rice, here's the mac and cheese. They're both the same amount of calories. Mac and cheese actually has less carbs. And Danny goes, Allison, can you read anything in the ingredients on the back of that macaroni and cheese? And I looked at him, I was like, oh, damn, that's a really long list. He said, how many are on the rice? And I said, 6. And he goes, so which one do you think is actually better for you? And I'm like, oh, I know it's the rice, but my 6-year-old wants to eat the mac and cheese, right? But I chose the rice. Do you know why? Because I'm tired of feeling like shit. When I eat that crap, I don't feel good, right? And I don't want to feel like that. And so it's almost like, okay, let me compare it to this because of your, okay, when you get to the point where, for me, when I did so much cocaine and it got to the point where the come down wasn't worth the high because you had to do so much to get there, and then you felt like a Mack truck hit you, right? And you're snorting shit back in the back of your throat and your nose is on fire and you just feel terrible. So the come down isn't worth the high for me anymore, food
Yeah.
wise. Now, you bring me a Village Bakery cupcake, I'm going to eat it. I don't care when it is, where it is, what it is, right? I'm going to eat it. But I can say no to those things because I know how I feel with and without them. And I
Yeah.
think that's what we're trying to explain to people is there's a way to do this to feel good. You're not going to feel bad. You're not going to feel deprived. You're not, but stop putting shit in your body that you don't know what it's going to do to your body long term.
Long
And
term.
there is no chance of death with our products and what we have.
Absolutely not.
No
Absolutely
chance of
not.
death, no chance of anesthesia, no chance of long term side effects, long term damage to your liver, to your organs, to your heart, none of that. It's all good, right? So, why? Why are you doing this to yourself? Why? It doesn't make any sense if you sit down and actually think about it and let your rational brain take over rather than your 6-year-old inner child that doesn't want to do what it's supposed to do.
Hey, listen, my clients in my full-time job, someday I hope you and I will have part two of this conversation where we actually talk about the different sections of the brain, and
Oh,
it's very
totally.
fascinating.
Yeah,
Oh, please, because I will
yeah.
tell you why that rational part gets overridden all the time, and it's ridiculous.
Oh,
It's
oh, I
ridiculous,
know.
but
And I've been actually been listening to some stuff because I've been in therapy. There's some stuff going on in my life, and so I figured therapy was a really good thing, and I've been doing
all
that.
adults need
And
to be
some,
in therapy. I believe
yeah,
all
for
of
real,
us do.
for real. But I've been reading or listening to it's talking about reparenting your inner child, how to like
Yes.
retrain, and it's
Yeah.
so very, very, very important. So many of us are instant gratification, our impulse control, all of those things. It's all here. It's all mental, things like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, so we need to plan part 2. for sure, because we're almost at an hour, so we got to cut the
I
clock on
know. I'm
her.
so
I
sorry.
know. No, no, no. Don't be sorry. Don't be sorry. I got to go get my mama picked up from the rehab though, from her hip surgery last week. So, uh, yeah. Thank you. Thank you for all this insight. Thank you for coming on and doing this. Thank you for sharing the whole 9 yards. And we will get part two going here soon for sure
I
because I
love
want
it.
to hear.
Thank you for having me. As always, I love you.
I love you too. Peace out. And I'm going to stop recording. And thank you guys for watching. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube, all of the above for Allison Unfiltered. And this is Kristi Wolbers. All right. Peace out, y'all.